Hey! Grab some coffee, grab some snacks. Today's gonna be an interesting video, but I'm very excited to finally open up about my pregnancy journey. Hi guys, my name's Grace, as many of you know, but if you don't know, hi. I'm an 18-year-old mom to a 14-month-old. Yes, I got pregnant at 17. My daughter's name is Kinley Annalise, and she was born on September 2nd, 2022. I've somewhat shared my story a couple times on my TikTok, also my Instagram, but I've never gotten super in-depth with everything. To start, me and my boyfriend have been together for almost 3 years. We started dating December 3rd of 2020. We've known each other for a little bit before that, but we made things official in December, which, fun fact, is right before my birthday. My birthday is December 9th, which kind of plays a big factor in this whole story. After only a couple months of dating, my boyfriend found out that his dad got a job in Tampa, Florida, which I live right outside of Philly, and he was also living right outside of Philly, so that's about 1,000 miles away from here. At the time, I was 16, I was so in love. I was like, we're gonna make this work, like, we're doing it. He was in the same boat as well. A couple months go by, and September rolls around. My boyfriend left September 7th of 2021. I was trying to make it one of my top priorities to go and see him. He couldn't really come up here as often because he was taking a couple courses down in Florida while he was there. The first time I saw him after he moved, it was the weekend of Halloween, and it was also my dad's birthday. So I was like, hey, surprise, we're going to Florida to go see my boyfriend for your birthday. I don't think he really cared. I think he was just excited to get out of the house. I was only able to go for a long weekend because I had school and my dad had work. My boyfriend also had a lot going on down there. So we just made a quick long weekend trip down to Tampa. That was actually the first time that my dad met my boyfriend's dad. And it went really smoothly. Honestly, they got along really, really well, which is great for us because obviously now we have a baby together. So everyone better get along. Leaving him for the first time after not seeing him for a little bit was definitely rough. Very rough, actually, to say the least. I think the hardest part was not knowing when I was gonna see him again. Little did I know it would only be like a month and a half. My family has a tradition of going to Florida every single year. Kinley just woke up. Let me go grab her really quick. Can you say hi to everyone? There's that pretty smile. You wanna sit here or you wanna go play? Uh-oh, okay. I love you. You're so pretty. Anyways, so my family and I go to Florida almost every year for Thanksgiving. We would normally go to Orlando, but now that my boyfriend was living in Tampa, we decided to go to Clearwater. Where we were staying was about a 20-minute drive to where he lived. The way I always word this is obviously we missed each other because we haven't seen each other in a little bit. So things happened. We normally go the week of Thanksgiving, but things just didn't work out that week, so we waited a little bit. So instead of going in November, we ended up going the second week of December, which just happens to be when my birthday is. We had a lot of fun there. We didn't really think anything of it. I get so many questions asking if I was ever on birth control or if we used protection. I was on birth control for a little bit, but then when he moved, I was like, I don't need to be on it. It's messing with me. It's messing with my mental health. There's really no use of me being on it right now. So you would think that because I wasn't on birth control, I would be precautious with everything. After this trip down to Florida, I wasn't thinking very much about the whole no protection thing because I had just recently got my period. My freshly 17-year-old brain was not like, I'm gonna be ovulating, maybe use protection. Coffee break. You can't have any, sorry. My boyfriend was planning on coming home regardless of if we saw each other in December because he wanted to come home and see his mom and his sister. He flew in the end. I'm talking about your dad. He ended up flying in the day after Christmas, and I picked him up at the train station. Honestly, I don't know why I didn't just... Oh, he was in Maryland for a little bit first to see his mom and his sister, and then he took the train to Pennsylvania. Took the train to Pennsylvania, so then I picked him up at the train station. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I was like, why didn't I just pick him up at the airport? I saw him the day after Christmas, and I had been talking to him for like the past week, like, hey, just so you know, my period is supposed to come, and it hasn't yet. Little did I know it was this little girl. I had been making jokes to him like, oh, what if I'm pregnant? I'd been making jokes to him for probably about a week and a half prior to when we found out, and I remember the day he got home, I was like, hey, I still have not gotten my period. Maybe we we should play it safe and take a test. Why are you so yelly right now? I kept saying, I'm not pregnant. I promise you I'm not pregnant. I just think we should take one just to be safe. I think we both kind of knew in the back of our minds that I was pregnant, but we didn't want to believe it. Obviously, because I had just turned 17 2 weeks prior. I forgot to mention my boyfriend is about a year and a half older than me. So he was 18 at the time, about to turn 19. His birthday's in February. I remember vividly we went to go get sushi, and the whole time he was just freaking out. And I'm like, I'm not pregnant. Like, I promise you I'm not pregnant. I just think it's funny. Let's go take a test. Completely like just, oh, it's gonna come back negative, we're fine. After we were done eating the sushi, we went over to the CVS, which was a couple minutes away from us. I bought the cheapest pregnancy test I could find because I was like, I'm not about to go spend $25 on a digital test when I'm not even pregnant. Across the street from the CVS is a Wawa. If you live in an area with a Wawa, you know there's almost a CVS next to every single one. I don't know why it works like that, but it does. After I bought the test, I walked over to the Wawa and I ended up taking a pregnancy test in the Wawa bathroom. It was really awkward because when I walked into the Wawa, I saw one of my friends in there and I'm like hiding a pregnancy test in the pocket of my sweatshirt. I'm like, oh my god, I'm taking a pregnancy test. Just like joking about it because I didn't think I was actually gonna be pregnant. I somewhat saw the test as I was walking out to my truck, but I didn't read the box. And I only saw one line in like the little circle thing. I'll insert a picture of the test that I'm talking about, but I only saw one line. My boyfriend then reads the box and as soon as he says, oh, there's supposed to be a line in the circle, my face just drops. And I'm like, I'm pregnant. He immediately just gets out of the car and is just standing there like sobbing. I'm so bad with reacting to things, so I'm in the car just like smiling and laughing like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I'm freshly 17 and I'm pregnant, like what's gonna happen? The world's ending. After we both kind of collected ourselves a little bit, we went to the Giant across the street and we bought a more expensive pregnancy test. I think I ended up taking 5 or 6 pregnancy tests in the time span of like an hour or two just to confirm. He called his sister almost immediately, which I honestly was not the biggest fan of because I didn't even comprehend everything yet. But he called his sister and his sister was like, go take another test, I'll Venmo you guys money. At least I think she Venmo'd him money to get the test. Regardless, we ended up getting a couple more tests and taking them. The second one we took was such a faint line. So we're like, all right, it was just a false positive. We're good, I'm not pregnant. And she was like, take another. And I was like, why? Like that one's not positive. But it's like it was 1 and 1. We had a very positive one and a somewhat positive one. I ended up taking a bunch more and they all came back positive. My boyfriend then told his dad. I'm not gonna get too in depth with that because I don't really want to talk about how that went. Things are fine now, we talked everything out, things are good, but his reaction was not the best that it could have been. Everyone was like, you need to tell your parents, and I'm like, I just found out 2 hours ago, I'm not telling my parents right now. Fast forward to the next morning around 7 a.m. I went into my mom's room, and I had a handful of pregnancy tests and I was bawling my eyes out and she's like, what's wrong? And I threw all the tests at her. As my announcement, and I was just laying there bawling my eyes out. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't know what she was gonna say. I didn't know if I was gonna get kicked out. I literally had all the possibilities in the back of my mind and I didn't know what was gonna happen. She was really supportive about everything. She laid out every single option I had and was very, very supportive. Then came time to tell my dad, which I definitely should have told him in a different way. If you're pregnant and you have to tell your parents that you're pregnant, do not do what I did. I pretty much told him the same way that I told my mom, with just like giving him all the pregnancy tests and crying, but I did it while he was working at his shop. I asked him if he could come outside for a second and he did, and we both were sitting in the truck and then I threw it at him and then expected him to just go back inside to work and be completely fine. After finding out that his freshly 17-year-old daughter is pregnant by a guy that she's only been with for just over a year. A couple days later, we had to tell Mitch's mom, and funny story, she did not even know about me. There was a bunch of stuff going on which I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to invade any privacy, but she did not know about me. Mitch and I were together together for a little over a year at this point, and he had to call his mom and say, hey, I've had a girlfriend, we've been together for over a year, and she's now pregnant. That went over exactly how you think it would go over. I met her for the first time in February of 2021. I was 3 months pregnant, I think. I was terrified. I feel like I was robbed of my entire pregnancy. Pregnancy is such a beautiful experience. You're creating life. You're giving life to somebody. You are growing a whole human inside of you. You are giving them everything that you have. You are literally giving them your blood, sweat, and tears. And for you to be robbed of that is just not okay. I don't think I was ever at a lower point in my life than I was in my pregnancy. I didn't tell any of my friends until I was maybe 5 months pregnant and couldn't really hide it anymore. I couldn't post about it. I literally couldn't even talk about it without people slut shaming me, telling me I'm such a whore, I'm such an awful person, and that I ruined my life, I'm gonna ruin this baby's life if I have it. Just all these awful things, and it made me feel like I couldn't even go to school. I ended up switching to online school when I found out I was pregnant because I knew I would not be able to handle it. And honestly, it just sucks because I so badly wanted to enjoy every single moment of my pregnancy. I barely even have any pictures from when I was pregnant. I think in total I might have like 100 pictures from a 10-month span. Pregnancy was really rough on me, and I cannot wait, and I'm so excited for my next pregnancy because I am going to cherish every single little moment. I will be taking a billion pictures every single day, and when I capture every single little thing, I never got to experience my maternity pictures. I never even posted myself pregnant on my Instagram, which really bothers me. I was so worried about what everybody else thought about me and what everyone else would say, and I let it get in the way, and I let everyone else take everything from me. I was not happy, and everybody always says the baby feels what you feel, and I am so genuinely sorry that I had to put her through that. She is such a beautiful person, such a beautiful soul, and I am so genuinely in love with my daughter. I've never felt a love stronger before, and it's so crazy to me. When I was about 6 months pregnant, I did have a scare. I went to the bathroom, and when I peed, it was all blood. My heart dropped so fast. I thought that was it. I thought I lost her. I thought everything that I just went through and everything I was living for was just gone. I ended up getting rushed to the hospital near me, which was about like a 10-15 minute drive. So I was just sitting there the whole time, just like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Like, I'm not pregnant anymore. Like, I just lost my baby. Am I gonna have a preemie? Blah, blah, blah. I got there, they did a bunch of tests on me. They tested me for early labor, which came back negative. Obviously, she was completely fine. And it ended up just being a kidney stone that just got passed. They put me on an antibiotic, which kind of cured all of that. She ended up being perfectly fine. I got another ultrasound while I was there, which was really nice being able to see her. And I was still feeling her move a bunch, so I had that in the back of my mind the entire time through all of this. In June, I had my first baby shower, which was with all of my friends and family. It was really nice. It was set up so pretty. I'll insert some pictures and videos if I still have them. It was honestly such a dream, and I'm so thankful that so many people showed up and were there to support me. That was probably one of the first times where I actually felt loved and felt cared for while I was pregnant. About a month later, I had my second baby shower in Maryland with my boyfriend's family. That was so much fun too. I'm so appreciative of everybody who supported me through all of this. Not to get into too much detail or be too TMI, I went to the bathroom while I was there during the baby shower, and I thought that I lost my mucus plug, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a baby. No, I was fine. Fast forward to September 1st of 2022. A couple of my friends came over, and one of them was begging me to paint my stomach, and I finally gave in, and I was like, whatever, like, go ahead, you can do it. My daughter was very active this day, which was not normal. She was just moving so much that day. In the back of my mind, I'm like, what if I'm going into labor? Like, that would be crazy. They painted my stomach. I'll insert a picture right here of what my stomach looked like. It wasn't the best, but they had fun, and I just kind of let them do it. I remember going to sleep that night and just waking up the next morning at like 6 a.m. and was like, oh my God, I think I'm having contractions. I told my friends I was not going to tell anybody when I went into labor, and I was just gonna like hard launched the fact that I had a baby, but I could not contain myself and I ended up texting my best friend and was like, I think I'm having contractions. Couple hours go on. I decided to shower, do my hair, do my makeup, get ready. I wanted to look good when I had this baby. I didn't even think that I would be like sweating and that the makeup would come off and my hair would be all frizzy and gross. I looked a hot mess in the hospital, to say the least. But around like 10:30, 11 o'clock, they were like, all right, come into the hospital. We're gonna check you out. Turns out that the amniotic sac had ripped a little bit, so I was leaking some amniotic fluid, also known as my water broke. That was really, really nice because they were gonna send me home if that test came back negative, because at that point I think I was only 2.5 or 3 centimeters dilated. If my water didn't break, my body would not be ready to give birth yet. But babies can only be out of the amniotic fluid for a certain amount of time. I don't know what that time frame is, but they were like, all right, your water broke, it's go time. They put me on Pitocin, and I remember calling my boyfriend at like 12 o'clock. Once they decided they were gonna keep me, I was like, hey, I'm in labor. He was out playing a round of golf with his dad at this point, and the earliest flight that there was around like 5 p.m., meaning he wouldn't get to the hospital until probably 9, around then, 9:30. He was flying into Harrisburg, which was about an hour and 10 minutes from the hospital I was at. In my mind, I'm like, he's not gonna make it. I'm gonna do this all alone. He's gonna get there. The baby's already gonna be here. He walked into the hospital room around like 9:35, and I gave birth at 10:04 p.m. He got there just on time, and it literally blows my mind the fact that he was able to get here. I need another coffee break. So I was 17 years old and I had my daughter on September 2nd, 2022. My boyfriend was 19 years old when I had her. I'm now currently 18, almost 19, and he is 20. I'm so genuinely happy with how everything's going right now. We have our little family that I've always dreamed of. Crazy enough, I've always had this image in the back of my mind that I was gonna be a young mom. Obviously, I didn't think I'd be 17 when I became a mom, but I did want to be a young mom, and I just feel like everything happens for a reason. It's honestly crazy how fast all of this flew by. It feels like just last week we found out I was pregnant, scared out of our minds, didn't know what we were gonna do, and now we live together with a beautiful, healthy little girl. We are currently in the process of building a house, which is so crazy and exciting. I literally can't wait. As soon as it's done, you know I'm gonna be doing a house tour and everything will just be baby and house related. Like, I seriously cannot wait. So all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the story of my 17 and pregnant journey. It was a long, bumpy road to get to where we are now, but I am so incredibly grateful for everyone and everything that has happened. I'm so beyond thankful for all the support that I've gotten and all the encouraging words. Even all the hate that I've gotten, it really just makes me who I am today. And I'm so proud of myself for getting over that fear of thinking what everybody else thinks. Because now look at me, I have over 100,000 followers on TikTok who are supporting my journey as a teen mom, and I'm now growing a following on YouTube and Instagram as well. My life is crazy, but I wouldn't change it for anything. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. It truly does mean the world.